It's 6 a.m. and this is how I start my day. With a journal, a cup of tea, and a question that's been in my mind lately. What if the biggest mistake you could make in your 20s is being too afraid to make mistakes at all? Crazy, right? We spend so much time trying to avoid failure as if it's the worst thing that could happen. But let me tell you something, failure and failing hard was the best thing that ever happened to me. This video isn't about doing mistakes, it's about why your 20s are the perfect time to take risks, make those mistakes, and learn more in a single year than you could in a decade of playing it safe. When I look back at my 20s so far, I see a highlight reel of failures. Big ones, painful ones. But here's the thing, every stumble taught me more about who I am and what I want than any success ever could. And today, I want to show you why failing in the 20s is not just okay, it's the secret to building a life you'll actually be proud of.
If you're in your 20s, maybe you're feeling a bit lost, maybe you lost the direction, maybe your past goals that you wanted to go, you don't really know where you want to go because the society has expectations of you that you just have to figure out everything, you have to have the perfect career, the perfect relationships, maybe even to start a perfect family in your middle of your 20s and you're just thinking about, okay, I think I have to start very from the beginning. And let me tell you the one thing, being in your 20s, and if you think you're too old, you're not too old. It is just in our head. And the 20s is the perfect playground for doing risks, for doing mistakes, learning from it, and moving forward very quickly. And this is why exactly this video is for you, because we are feeling very overwhelmed. We have to make so many big life decisions. But trust me, it is not that difficult as you maybe think, because you're allowed to do mistakes. It's better to do mistakes now and not later on when you have maybe a different stage where you already want to have something different in your life. And especially with expectations from the society, you really have to trust your own gut, because otherwise you are going to live a life for other people, but it's your life. So therefore, welcome to my new video. So in your 20s, it is going to be not your worst age, but your best age where you can really grow and creating your future that you really want. So all I can say in this video is trust me first. I did many mistakes. And still I'm doing a lot of mistakes, and maybe I will not even try to stop to do mistakes, because in my mistakes I learned a lot. But I just don't want to say like what I have learned, but also I want to also talk personally about my own mistakes of where I felt like as a failure, where I thought about, okay, now everything is over, especially in the career side. And I really want to make it very personal, because I think, and maybe I'm not the only one, and maybe you can really share experience and then try to grow from situations, like why I did some decisions, what would I do differently, and what would I change for the next time, and really do better decisions, what really fulfills my life and not the life from other people. So I'm really happy to create this video, and let's start. The first thing, we all have felt it before, perfection. The urgent pressure to feel very perfect. And social media doesn't help with that, because you're scrolling and you just see your friends from the school, from universities, they're starting their dream jobs, they're doing luxury vacations, they're doing great pictures, maybe they're starting the families or businesses or going to the Forbes, like so many great things. And maybe you're starting to go on LinkedIn, you just see like, oh my God, so many people who are maybe even younger have reached so many things. And then you're asking yourself, oh my God, in which direction do I want to go? And then you're totally feeling behind at the game. You're just asking yourself, is something wrong with me? Like, am I normal? Or is that normal? And maybe you're starting your second, third, fifth job and you don't like your job. Maybe you wanted to build your startup and you failed. Maybe you're living in your parents' house and you're already 27. You just ask yourself, like, what did I did wrong? But let me tell you one thing. Perfection is a lie. Everyone has their own time. Everyone has their own lifetime. And you cannot compete yourself with other people because everyone has their own life. And what is very important for you is that you have to start to compete with your habits, with yourself from yesterday to today. You have to compete yourself with yourself and not with other people, because otherwise you will lose yourself in the world of full of personalities. And that's why I really want to tell you, just try to work on yourself. Please, I know it's very, very hard because I do it myself, of course do, but every time if you see yourself that you are comparing yourself with other one, maybe I have to work even more on myself. If I start to feel very unsatisfied and if I see other people are winning and you don't feel very good about it, that it's something wrong, and you have to build yourself up. And this is what you can do with building habits, starting with trusting yourself. Very simple thing. If you're hearing your alarm in the morning, either you have like 10 alarms and you cannot wake up, which I had in my past, which also means that you don't respect yourself, that you cannot wake up and you cannot trust yourself, that you can wake up at 6 a.m. and doing all the things. But if you can wake up on the first alarm, this is something that shows you that you can trust yourself, that you can do your own thing, that you can do your work. And also if you're setting your calendar and if you really do everything by your calendar, that means you're trusting yourself. So really start with these small habits, because these small habits will be the grand foundation for everything. Because if you don't have the success yet in life, it doesn't matter what kind of goals you have, that means that you're not prepared for the success. That means you still have to learn so many things, that because if you get the success, that you're also able to handle the success. Because if you get the success very quickly without any preparation, many people cannot sustain the success. That means they're getting the success, don't know how to handle everything, and then maybe it's also like gone. So that's very important. Very be prepared for the success, and this is starting by very small habits to do every day. You can track your habits. You are having so many great tools online that you can every day you can track if you're in a good way or not. So really do this. So for the second part, I just wanted to share with you like my biggest failure, but also my biggest win in my life, which was my startup experience. And if you had other failures where you can say, well, it was such a failure, I really was scared, but maybe at the end it was the biggest win. Please just comment, because maybe we can just share our experiences. It doesn't matter what kind of life stage or area, but for me it was like my biggest win. Because for me, example, I really love to work and to do my career, and especially like when I did my master's degree, like I was like, okay, I really wanted to start my own startup, because to have the privilege on being on the university and having the best people there, I just had the idea, okay, let's start a startup to really solve a problem which I was really where I was really, really motivated. I had a really great team, and within these 2 years we just had so much success. Of course, we've been like a beginning startup, but still it was great from the outside. We had a great and big team. We've been on the news. We had some little investors, so not big investments, but still like a small, like private investments, everything like pre-seed phases. And we thought, okay, this is going to be like the next startup. But the problem is, from the outside, everything seems so perfect. And it means also that the expectation from the outside was very big. We really had a big community, many people waiting for our product that they can have our software and everything. But the expectation from the outside, for me personally, was, okay, wow, we really have to make it over the expectations, because I think also like from my personality, if I have to serve something, I'm always trying to do not just 100%, but always 120%. Doesn't matter if it was like in school or in university, but always going over the top. The problem was just that in that time, from the inside, for myself, even when from the outside was very, very perfect and people really trusted that, okay, this is going to be like the next startup. From the inside, it was a chaos. I wasn't prepared mentally for this kind of success, because I did so many mistakes. Of course, it was the first startup experience, and of course, it's allowed to do all these mistakes. But the problem, what I have expected, because the problem was always that I always worked and learned everything by myself. And this time, being in a team, really to trust the team, to delegate things, was something where I was really bad. I always had the pressure to do everything by my own, to control somehow like everything, like to do like just everything. But the problem is I worked way too much. At the end of that, I didn't have the time to really focus on the next steps, and also like from the mentality, because I had the feeling that the expectations from the outside was so big that I didn't want any people to get the software or investors to invest in our startup, and that they're thinking like, oh, I just thought that there is like more, and then to fail because our product wasn't that good. And the pressure was so big that at the end, of course, like I worked too much, and suddenly from day to another, I just couldn't even reply to messages. Somehow I just wake up and I thought, okay, I cannot move forward with that. And I was like, okay, but I was so excited for that. Like, why I cannot even move to reply to messages? And this was then not just one day or 1 week or 1 month, suddenly 3 months, and I couldn't decide because I didn't want to say like, we don't do that. But the worst thing what I did was I didn't do any decision. I lost so much time in really trying mentally to prepare the next step. But from the inside, I was like already had the decision that I cannot move on with this startup. And this was the problem. I couldn't take the action to say no, to go to the team to say, hey, I'm really sorry, but I can't do this anymore. I don't know why. I cannot explain it to myself. I think now I have the things why. But the worst problem was for me that in these 3 or 4 months, I just thought, okay, I will continue, but I couldn't continue somehow with my actions, for example. And that at the end, that I couldn't even reply to any messages. And I was just like so ashamed because I thought myself, I'm always replying in the first seconds. I'm always trying to deliver everything on time and pre-time especially. And now I cannot even move and to really do anything. I was so shocked by myself that I can even be that person. And of course, after reflecting and to see what was the main problem behind it, I just saw that this wasn't for me. But still, what I've learned from this experience is it's better to do a decision. So either to decision, okay, I can't continue, I have to explain that, like to explain, of course, to my team and to make it like very visible, or to say, okay, I will deliver, I will do this, I will continue. And just any decision what I'm doing, it doesn't matter what kind of decisions I would do. The only thing what was important there, to just do the best out of it. And at that time, I didn't take any decisions. I just waited because I thought, okay, maybe I will just change my mind because something is happening. But let me tell you the one thing, nothing will happen from the outside. You have to create it by yourself, and you have to do the decision, because if you don't do the decision, it is also a decision. And this was one of the main things I learned. Of course, the whole startup world, I learned so much about working, about solving the problems, about delivering, about working in a team, about trusting the team, but also how you are handled to do decisions. Because in a world where you have to do so many decisions, I really learned, take any decision, but if you do the decision, try to do the best out of it, and don't think about the other decisions, because I always thought about what would happen if I do this and this and this and this and this. Take the decision and do the best out of it, and not doing the decision based on others, but based on yourself and what is your gut is telling you, your brain is telling you. Write down the list and write down yourself, what is the worst thing that could happen? And if you see the worst things on the list, and if you just reflect, okay, is it that tragic? And if not, it's totally fine. The problems that we have in our mind are so much bigger than they are actually. It's just the brain. And you will survive, trust me. And now to the third part, timing. Because you are in your 20s and you are building the foundation for the rest of your life. That means now you can really, really do all the mistakes that you want to have, and also learn from the other mistakes from your friends, from your families. But sometimes you just have to experience it by yourself. So that means every time if you do a decision and you feel like very uncomfortable, it's not very easy to do, it is the right path. Because the easy decisions, if you're taking the easy decisions now, you will have a hard time later. That means try to make now the hard decisions, take the risks, but therefore your life will be much more easier later. And especially in your 20s, you don't have the responsibilities like in your 30s or 40s. Maybe you will have kids, a house, maybe you have some different responsibilities, and therefore it's very hard maybe to do the mistakes. But in your 20s, and if you're totally free now, it is one of the best things now, and it's the best timing now, because if not now, when? Maybe not later, because now today you're the youngest, so that means you just have to start now to do the mistakes now, and then you can really benefit it into the next years. So here's the challenge for you. Just try to do the mistakes. Try to make the decisions that scares you, where you're afraid of, where you need to risk, because therefore you will learn so much more, because failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the foundation of it. And as more you're going to fail, as more life experiences you will have right at the beginning of your early years, where you can just benefit from it. So if you have a mind, I want to make my business, I want to change my career, I want to do this and this and this, and you don't have the answer for the outcome, just try it out, give it a chance, and then you will always have the clarity what you want and what you don't want. And this is something by doing it, reflecting it, and then to see, do I want to go to this direction or not? So I hope that video was a bit helpful for you, because I am definitely in my 20s and I feel sometimes like very lost and I'm not perfect yet, and maybe you have even more advices what you have already learned. It would be like so interesting to hear that. So you can just comment it, share your experiences. I would really love to. And yeah, and please don't be very strict, because I am not an English speaker, but still for me it was important to try something new to enhance my English skills, and that's why I am doing it. It's not perfect, I know on the internet the judgment is always very big, but still I want to risk, I want to learn, and that's why I'm doing that. So I want to encourage you also by doing that. Even if you think I'm not perfect, just do it anyway, because I know I'm doing a lot of mistakes, but I'm trying to learn here together with you. So let's start to be imperfect, just trying to be ourselves and to learn new things by sharing our things that we have learned together. That would be very happy to see that, and see you in the next video. Bye.